So because of all these requirements, academic English is more difficult than normal English. In fact, half of my friends can't write a letter or a report academically, so that is very depressing. But don't worry, that is why I'm here today, to help you. So, academic English is present in all of the major English tests, like the final test or the TOEFL or exam on thesis. So therefore, it is very important that you master it. And here are the 4 things that you need to remember when writing academic English. First of all, do not use contractions like it's or can't or won't. They are not acceptable. You must write a full word like it is and cannot or will not, and no abbreviations either. That means no TV, no memo, no web, but you must say that television or notes on the internet. There are only a few exceptions where you are allowed to use abbreviations like FBI or CIA because they are internationally accepted. And second of all, the vocabulary. You cannot use emotional words because, like I said, academic English is professional and impersonal. So you cannot say I think or in my opinion or it feels like because they are not professional. And if you absolutely have no choice and have to use what do you think, then you must use the plural form like we or us. That's a lot more easier. And finally, be simple. Okay, some people think that it is easy to write academic English. All you have to do is say a lot of very complicated stuff, and then it is academic. But no, that is not the case. You must be clear and concise and straight to the point. In fact, if you let's say if you try to use a lot of complicated words but you don't know what they mean, then it will backfire horribly. People will think that you are showing off and have no expertise in what you are saying at all, and that is a very bad thing. Okay, now Mr. Jake will take over from here.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jake, and first of all, I want to thank Mr. Dip for his very interesting presentation. And now I will continue our internal training today with the next 2 parts. First, I'm going to show you the way how to build an outline or structure of an essay. And then, as I have taken the TOEFL IBT test before, so I'm going to show you some experience and tips so that you can improve your performance in the writing task of the TOEFL IBT test. So, before we begin, I want to ask you some questions. Do you recognize these movies? Have you ever watched them before?
Yes.
Okay, I bet that many of you here have seen those movies. But did you recognize the similarity between those two?
3 people?
Yes, that's right. The number 3. And in fact, in the movie industry, people usually prefer the number 3 rather than other numbers. I don't know why, but I think that it gives us a feeling of completeness. So, today I'm going to show you something even more extraordinary. In writing, there also exists a rule called the rule of 3. This is kind of new to you, right? So now I'm going to present what it's about. In the rule of 3, we have 4 things related to this rule. First, as you all know, every essay contains 3 parts. First, the introduction, then the body, and finally the conclusion. And then, in order to support your idea and opinions, you should have 3 main ideas. And for each main idea, you will provide 3 supporting or smaller ideas so that it can make it clearer and even more convincing for your argument. And more importantly, in order to connect your ideas together, you need 3 types of sentences, and I'm going to show you about this one later. And in the case that you didn't follow what I have just said, I have a diagram here for you. You can see that in this diagram, on the top of it, you are given a main topic. And then you will break it down into 3 main ideas that you are gonna develop your essay in that direction. And then for each main idea, you have here the 3 supporting ideas, so that your main idea is much stronger and more reliable. And you do the same thing for the rest 2 main ideas. And when you have all of these information and sources, you will combine them together to form the last but not least, the conclusion here. So you can see that we have gone through 3 steps or 3 parts. First, the introduction, then the body, and finally the conclusion. So you can see that it follows beautifully the rule of 3 in writing that I've just introduced to you before. And now the next question is how you can transfer this outline here into a real essay. And I have a tool called the tablet. Have you ever heard of this term before? Yes, the tablet in fact is an incomplete essay which consists of only the structures and connecting sentences. And its function is to create a spine of your writing piece. You know, a spine like this one, backbones, right? The spine or backbones. And whenever you encounter a topic in the argumentative essay, you just have to apply this template and then fill in your details and ideas to transform it from an incomplete to a complete essay. And the main advantage of using the template is that you can save a lot of time in thinking or for even struggling with finding the appropriate phrases or words to connect your ideas together. As a result, you have more time to brainstorm for the main ideas, the details, the supporting ideas, etc. So you can see that the template is really amazing. If you use it properly in your writing, your performance will increase dramatically. And now I'll show you the steps how to write an essay using an effective template. First, I'm going to talk about the introduction. Do you know what is this? What? Can anyone make a guess? You? Yes, that's right. It's a funnel. Do you know a funnel? A funnel is an object that is wide on the top and is narrowing down to the bottom. And then you have to put all of your main ideas in it, and then it will combine together to form a unique thesis statement. A thesis statement is a sentence to express your opinions, your views, or your attitude on a particular topic. And I have to say that this is one of the most important parts of your essay. I give you an example to see that how important it is. You can see that if writing an essay without a thesis statement is like building a house without a foundation. You know the foundation? And the consequence is the house is gonna fall, it's gonna collapse. And similarly here, your essay is gonna fail. And no one wants it to happen. So keep in mind to pay more attention to the thesis statement, and you should have at least one of them in your essay. Otherwise, your essay is just going to fail. And then I move on to talk about the body of the template. As I have mentioned before, in the rule of 3 in writing, we have 3 main ideas, 3 parts, 3 supporting ideas. But I haven't introduced to you about the 3 types of tenses. So here they are. Some people say that, why do we need these kind of sentences? I say that the true art of writing is not about using good academic words or good structure or having good ideas, but it lies in the creating a flow, a smooth flow in your essay, so that the reader can see it is all of the information in your essay are connected closely to each other. So first, here we have the topic sentence. Topic sentence will help you to develop your main topic at the beginning of an essay. And then we have the supporting sentences. You can use this to aid you in creating the supporting ideas. And at the end of your paragraph, you can have a concluding sentence. And here, on the second line, I have some tips for you to improve the performance of these three sentences. First, for the topic sentence, you can have the ordering word. Like you will let the readers know where they are at the moment so that they won't get lost during reading your essay. For example, you can use, if you have three main ideas, you can use firstly, secondly, and finally. That are the ordering words. And for the supporting sentences, you have two types, the clarification and the information adding words or phrases. If you already have a main idea, you can use the clarification words such as, for example, for instance, to illustrate or to be more specific, so that your main idea can be clearer to the readers. And if you want to move from one supporting idea to another supporting idea, you can use the information adding words, like furthermore, moreover, in addition, or additionally. And at the end of your paragraph, you should add a concluding sentence. And to begin, you can use some phrases like as a consequence, as a result, or in brief, in short. It depends on your choice, but if you can use many of them, your essay will be much better because you have a wider range of word choice, and it is definitely a plus for you when you take the exam. Now I've talked about the conclusion of a template. In here we also have three components: the concluding statement, the review, and the final comment. In the concluding statement, you just simply rephrase your thesis statement again. So you just need to practice a little bit and you can master it. But the more difficult task is this one, because you have to take all of the information provided in the body and then you combine them into just 2 or 3 lines or sentences. So you have to have a good paraphrasing skills. And I suggest that you should practice it now, because you will face it again when you learn the IEC courses. And if you don't practice, you will find yourself in a very big trouble. And in some cases, we also use the final comment, or in some cases, the final thoughts, to express your opinions on that topic, but with a further perspective. For example, if I have a topic like what are the advantages of using the internet in the university, I will write a conclusion like this. In conclusion, the internet has many benefits in our academic life because it helps us to search for valuable information. It aids us in chatting with our friends, and finally, it also provides us a means to entertain ourselves. And then, when it comes to final comments, if you write like this, therefore, if the students are exposed more to internet, they will benefit even more in their studying. That is a good final comment because it is closely related to that topic. But if you say, therefore the university should buy more computers to let the students use the internet more, then it is diverging from your topic and you are off the track. And it's not a wise decision to do, because my advice on this one is that don't go too far, just stay on what you are writing. It's the best way to do. And here, to help you relax a little bit after listening to a lot of information, Mr. Dang will give you a small game so that you can refresh your mind after we continue with the next part.
Thank you for your very useful information about practice writing an essay. Okay, I will a little bit review about this. First, have the scenes on the introduction. Mr. Duck have tell you that about the difference about writing a non-academic and academic essay. And he will tell you about the way how to write an academic message, an academic essay, and it includes the words, the formal words, and includes the way you write. It must be formal and professional. And you need to know the words for which is formal words to writing an academic essay is very important. So this practice, I will show you these words, and you find out the similar words. I mean the synonym of these words, but in the formal way, and this is just the informal way. Okay. Actually, I prepared that we will divide you into groups to play this practice, but because you are too little, so I can't do it. So this is just for individual who know the way to transfer the words here into the formal way. You will raise your hand, and at the last of this class, we will have a quiz for you. Okay, now look at these 10 words. Anyone have the formal word, which is the synonym with this word? Okay, just one word.
Chance, I think it is opportunity. And number 5 is understanding. I think it is acknowledgement. Acknowledgement.
Okay, number 10 is opportunity. It is right. It is the formal way of writing channels. And number 5, understanding is acknowledgement. This is also right, but you can also write in the other ways like comprehension. This is another formal word with the same meaning as understanding. And any other words? Anyone? There will be a gift for you.
K14, raise your hand. Now let's K13 do it.
First, yes.
I think number 4 stop, we can use terminate. Terminate. And number 9, at first, we can change to begin with.
Number 9, to begin with. Okay. As he said that number 4, the word stop will can be used. Another word is terminate. So what do you think? Yeah, it's also correct. And number 9. Okay. The key word that we have prepared is lease. Seize. I'm rewriting. Okay, this will be the C's that writing is here. I will write it the word down here. C's. First time I see this word. So, and Sim tells us that number 9, instead of use at first or firstly, we can use to begin with, right? What do you think? Is it formal?
Yes, it is good, but here you can see that here we have the word firstly, so you can think of a word in the same form, the effort. You change your answer to.
Okay, so what do you think? It means that you use an adverb to substitute for that word.
Number 9 is initially.
Okay. Yes, that's right. Initially, yeah, you should use the initially instead of firstly to make it more professional. Yeah, that's the way. And okay, any other? Mr. No.
The one lucky is fortunate.
Okay, fortunate. Yes, that's right. Lucky can be right. And fortunate. Okay, and our numbers 2, 3, 6, 7, and 8. I'll give you the answer. Okay. 2, you mean?
Combination of 3 skills. And all of the thing you have to do in this task is to summarize the points made in the lecture that you just heard, and then you have to summarize how those points, how they cast doubt on the points made in the reading. And if you break this sentence down into many smaller parts, you can see what you have to do in this task. First, you see here, you just heard, so it requires your listening skills. And here, the points made in the reading, so you definitely need to read a passage. About when it comes to explanation, which means you need to write. So, basically, in this task, you need to do 3 things. First, read a passage. Then, listen to a lecture presented by a professor. Finally, combine the information of these 2 passages and you write an essay. And here, I have a question for you. Do you think what is the most difficult task in these 2 steps? And what is the easiest part? Hardest part. And what is the easiest part?
That's the reading lessons.
Okay. The most difficult task is listening to the lecture is correct. Because if you just miss a point and then you will be very free in the test room. You don't know what to do next. Many people think that the easiest part is reading the passage because it is presented before your eyes so you can see directly. You just have to note it down. But in fact, writing an essay is the easiest part. I'll show you how why I say that. Now, we consider the first step, reading the passage. You know that in this part, you are given 300-word passage, but with only 3 minutes. So you cannot read all of the things presented in the reading passage. So my advice is that you just focus only on the main topic sentences and some important supporting ideas. You can highlight it and then note it down on paper. And another hint is that you can use Vietnamese to do this because nobody will check your paper whether you write correctly in English or not. It's your paper, so you can do whatever you like. Now, when you have all of the information in the reading, you come to the next part, listening to the lecture. Here you just focus mainly on the points that you have noted down so that you can keep your concentration. Otherwise you will hear all of the lecture and then you don't know what you just heard. It's useless. And then pay more attention to the examples. If the professor gives you his ideas about all the points presented in the reading passage, but with a different view, then he will definitely give the examples to explain why he says that. Every time he does like this, like a robot, it doesn't change. And now, for the last part, when you have the differences between the reading and the listening passage, because when you note down, you usually draw 2 columns. On the left side is the reading, and on the right side is the listening. Then you combine them to write an essay. And you have 20 minutes to do this task. So I have some hints for you to do this effectively. First, do not copy exactly what is written in a reading passage and then paste into your writing, because the judge wants to mark a human, not a machine, because copying and pasting is a machine work, not a human's work. So they want to see your own work, you know. And the next two things are the tricks, not the hints, because it's never presented in any books or in an official material, because it's just my experience. In this kind of question, you don't need to write a whole conclusion paragraph, because basically when you write a normal essay, you need to write a conclusion. But here, it just asks you to summarize the idea between the reading and the listening passage. You just present those things, then you are okay. You don't need to do this. So you can see that you can save a lot of your time. And the next trick is even more interesting. You know that in this question, they usually require you to write from 180 words to 225 words. But in fact, the top scorers usually write up to 300 words. Do you know the reason why people cannot write a long essay? The reason is really simple, because they don't know what to write. They don't have enough information, because they didn't listen carefully enough. So they don't have the sources to compare with the reading passage. So they just stop from when they just write one sentence on two, then they don't know what to write next. So the essay is definitely short. But here, if you practice more on the listening, you will can have enough information, and then you can write longer essay. And in order to do that, I have two advice for you. First thing, when you have 20 minutes with a 300 words essay, the best thing is that you need to type fast. So you need to practice typing. And I think there are two ways to do that. The first is the boring way. You can go online and search for a website. Then they appear a series of lines of words in different languages, and you just type it out, and then you see how many words you get per minute. And then if you get more than 60 words per minute, then you are okay with this part. And I suggest you one website to do that. You can go here and then practice by yourself. And another way to practice typing, I think is much more interesting, is to chat with your friends at night. Because when you chat, what is coming in your mind will directly come into your fingers. And then if you practice day by day, night by night, you can improve this very quickly. I can assure you, because I did like that. And another hint to write a longer essay is that you can use the template. Because usually you don't have enough time, because you have to waste time on thinking about the structures and the sentences. So if you have this template, you just have to add the ideas and the details. And it is much more efficient. Now I'll show you a template for this question. Here you can see, if you just copy all of this and put in your essay, then you have already had 180 words. more than a half of 300 words. So in those bold places, you just need to add your what you read and what you have listened in the listening lecture. And then put it there, and then you can create a complete essay. So you can see that if you don't have this, you have to think of these things, and then it will slow you down a lot. But if you have this, if you can type all of this, then you will input the ideas. It's much better. So you can see that the tablet is really powerful. But here, I have advice for you. If you search for the tablets on the internet or in the textbooks, there are many of them available for you. But my slogan is that familiarity is much more important than quantity, which means you just need one tablet only, unless you want to take TOEFL RBT test for many times. So when you want to make one tablet like this, you can combine many of them together to choose the one that is most suitable for you. The easiest one to remember and the most effective one to write down. So when I take the real TOEFL RBT test, I use this one, and it is really effective. So that's all for the template of the first question in the TOEFL RBT test. And now I have another thing that I want to share with you is that the contrast words. Have you ever heard of this one? Is to express the differences between two things. Because you know that this part requires to point out the difference between the reading and the listening passage. So if you have these phrases, you will be at an advantage. And here, because of the time limit, so I will show you right away. I think that most of these words you have already known, but I just want to focus on the thing that have the same color. Why they have the same color? Because they are closely similar. If you, in your essay, in the first paragraph, you use the word nevertheless, then you will immediately think of the other one, the nonetheless, or vice versa. So you can save time thinking, because it's like an instant. Like you rephrase it and you know how to deal with it. Or these three, on the contrary, on the other hand, and in contrast. So they are also very similar. But here, a common mistake that you guys usually make is that you combine these two in a sentence. I'll give you an example. Like, although it's raining really hard today, I still go to school. Then it's a correct sentence, and you can change it using the but. It's raining really hard today, but I still go to school. It's still correct. But if you combine them together, like, although it's raining really hard today, but I still go to school, then it's completely wrong. And it is very easily spotted out by the judges, and you will be subtracted a lot of points because this is a very basic mistake. But unfortunately, you guys usually make this mistake. So keep in mind and avoid making those mistakes. And that's all for my presentation today. And now, Mr. Dirk will take on the internal training with the last part about his tips and experience about the IELTS test. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you, Mr. Dirk, for that informative presentation. Now we will talk about the IELTS test. But before we begin, here's a couple of facts. IELTS stands for the International English Language Testing System, and it is authorized by Cambridge University, if you want to know. And just like TOEFL is accepted by many English-speaking academic and professional institutions, our university is also included. If you have an IELTS band of 6.5 above, then you will be able to study the professional classes immediately without studying the English classes. So, IELTS writing test has 2 questions. However, we will only focus on the first one because first of all, it is a lot easier. Trust me, it is. And Mr. Duke's presentation has already included how to write an argumentative essay. So, in order to save time, we shall not dwell on that. Now, the first question is about you will be asked to write about a chart or a graph or a picture, and most people are very scared of this question because they simply look into a picture and they don't know what to write. However, it is in fact very simple actually. All you have to do is be clear, be trustworthy, and be obedient. And what do I mean by that? First of all, be clear. You look at the chart and you write down immediately what comes to mind at first. For example, what is the highest number? Or what is the most popular trend? Or what is the most common figure? Yeah, those numbers you write down immediately. So, be clear, that is what I mean. And be trustworthy, because no one is going to believe you unless you have something to back it up. So you have to include the statistics from the chart. For example, you say that English is the most popular country in the world, and according to the charts, because like I say, 80% of the world's cultures use English. Yeah, it will be a lot more trustworthy. And finally, be obedient. This may seem weird, but you have to follow the rules exactly. Don't try to be unique or special or anything. Remember, they are not testing your ability to, let's say, to brag on or to infer anything. They are testing your ability to use English and to write down what you see. And finally, do not try to be smart. I've seen a lot of people trying to infer what the information means. For example, let's say the birth rates have been decreased exponentially these years. And I think that is because many women are now practicing a lot of birth control methods, and no, that will not get you anything. Like I said, they're testing your ability to write what you see, not your ability to think or to infer your information. So writing it down will only waste your time and will not give you any credits at all. Like I said before, this part is a lot easier than the second question. All you have to do is remember the templates, write them down, add some information, and there, you're done. You have full credits. So, to make it easier to understand, here is an example. You can find that in the paper we have given you. There's a chart that shows the number of men and women in further education in Britain in 3 periods. And an answer has already been done for you with all the templates and the important structures highlighted, so you can see for yourself. Okay, here's the chart. So, yeah, sorry, there again. And if you have any questions about the writing or the chart, just let me know. Yes. easy for you. So that is the end of the presentation today. Thank you for your participation. And if you have any question, please ask.